Hi, today is Tuesday, February 15th. We're going to call this day 11 of our unit, but last Friday we did take an end of unit assessment. However, today we discussed that because there were a lot of concerns that students were in different levels of preparation. So, with that in mind, today we started by reminding each other that we need to turn in the enzyme web quest and that you need to have that gizmo on digestion ready for pickup on Wednesday or Thursday. And then, depending upon the class period, we went through the agenda for our unit 2. So we went back 11 days and we put together a working list of our coursework. So if you click here, you'll actually see that coursework. And you'll see it's arranged day by day. So, of the 10 days of our unit, there are specifics about what we did. This is straight from the electronic agenda that's posted every day. And then in green, you'll see the items that needed to go into the notebook. And in yellow, these are the assignments that were given, sometimes turned in Google Classroom, other times they were done paper and pencil. But you'll see there's a lot more green than there is actually yellow as you move through this. So some students were really struggling with the different assignments that occurred during week 4 and week 5. Last week was week 5 of this unit. It was only a 2-week unit, and wanted to make certain that students understood where all of their notes were coming from on their pages 22 through 29. And so that was the purpose of this list. Students can print this out and check things off as they're going through their own notebook and their homework assignments. The next thing that we did was, and it depended on the class period again, we did a little bit of a silly review. We did a dot to dot review, which turned out to be quite challenging for some and others, a little bit easier, but it just kind of depended upon how well your notebook was prepared. And so it was a old school dot to dot game, and we did this in 2-person or 3-person teams, and even one class had the championship 3 young individuals trying to vie for king of the dot to dot title. But anyway, it was a good practice reminding us about our 4 biomolecules and giving some really nice examples of some of those biomolecules. The last thing, and again, this depended on the class period, I talked very briefly about what we're going to try over the next 2 days. And the enzyme lab that we're going to do, as per your deep dive on enzymes from the video that you saw and then the enzyme web quest that you did. Enzymes are these beautiful molecules that allow chemical reactions to happen faster and easier with less starting energy. So, an enzyme's very specific to the chemical reaction that it's going to help. One enzyme can only help with one specific type of reaction, but it can do it hundreds of thousands of times and not get tired. Enzymes, however, are sensitive to pH and to temperature. So, what we're going to look at this week is how to develop some tests to check a specific enzyme that we're going to get from potatoes and determine the ideal temperature and the ideal pH for that enzyme to do its job. So, that's what we're going to dig into starting on Wednesday, tomorrow. If you were doing really well on this material and you did not feel that you needed any additional time to get your notebook in order, you had really nailed the work that was assigned over the last 2 weeks, then I asked for you to take a few moments or during class time, you could do it after class time as well, but to take a look at this beautiful website. I'd like to take everybody there. But this is a incredibly detailed site that shows you the actual 3-dimensional molecular view of a whole bunch of proteins. This is the protein data bank. This is global consortium of research houses pulling together a tremendous amount of information. If you look over on the right-hand side, you can see that they're going to show you some very small molecules all the way down to some really, really large, massive molecules. If you click on just the small molecules alone, you'll see that you've got the building blocks of life. That's what we've been studying. So let's look real closely at them. We've got ATP, so that's adenosine triphosphate. The next one over is glucose. And then even this last teeny tiny one, which is hard to get my finger on. Irk. Oh, there it is. Anyway, I don't think I can get it. There it is. That's a water molecule. So you can tell it to spin. You can ask for the ball and stick structure, and you can adjust it however you'd like. But go take a look at it. Here's your, oof, there you go. There's your glucose molecule. That might not be recognizable, but if you look at the ball and stick model, that's what we built in class. It's not as symmetrical as your big, beautiful spiders, but this has that carbon coming off the side and then the oxygen right in the middle. Unfortunately, they did not use our universal colors. They used white for hydrogen and they used the gray, black for carbon, but they used red for oxygen instead of our blue, which would have been really nice for them to coordinate with us, but oh well. You can then see other structures that are quite remarkable. This is an antibody. Antibodies are proteins. They're a very important part of our immune system's structure. This is when you get a vaccination. This is what your body learns to make so we can tag the pathogens that we do not want in our body. We'll tag them with our antibodies and then develop a memory cell that will remember how to do exactly this, which is pretty beautiful. And you'll see quite a few other structures. This is a cell membrane, and you can see some of these proteins that are embedded in the cell membrane and some of their jobs. But click around. It's quite remarkable. I would love for you to explore. Here you've got a piece of DNA, and you can see it looped around. We'll be doing an awful lot of DNA studying after the midterm. So let's go right back here. When students were looking through the review, it became obvious to many students that they needed to complete either the enzyme web quest, or maybe it was the digestive systems gizmo, or any of these additional pieces that might have gotten left behind. So then that was what the homework was to be. If there wasn't anything left behind, then you do not have any additional homework tonight. Thanks and have a great evening.